Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich. Um, this is my third time trying to record this. First time, dogs got a little talkative, and I had to let them out. And the second time, I forgot to hit record, and I was like 3/4 of the way through with the video. So I'm a little upset. Not only that, I was also interrupted by Jelly coming in and Karen coming in. Anyway, it's a whole thing. As per usual, we are this time around pulling from our Table Topics cube. If you would like to get one like this, there is a link in the description box below. Remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you get notified whenever new videos come out. Hit that thumbs up or thumbs down. Doesn't matter to me if you like or dislike this. It all appeals to the algorithmic gods of YouTube. All hail the algorithmic gods of YouTube. Remember to leave a comment on your take on this discussion. And you know what? I'm just going to get right into it. No extra commentary, nothing like that. Let's just go ahead. What would you do if you disagreed with your church about a moral issue? So, as a Christo-Pagan, I don't go to church. One reason is because the duality of deities issue of it all. Churches are really kind of frowning upon you, at least Christian churches, the majority of them, do frown upon you having more than one deity. They still frown on people practicing witchcraft and people being gay and all that stuff. So I have several things against me walking into a church. I would like to go to a church such as the Unitarian Universalist Church, and actually whenever I was thinking I was recording this, I looked one up, and the nearest one is 45 minutes away. I remember looking it up before, and there was a reason I didn't go, and I wanted to say that the time issue to get there was part of that. Yeah, it used to be that on Sundays I was working out at the flea market, or I was just plain old working, and now that I don't have that issue with having Sundays and Mondays off, the other issue right now is COVID, but yeah, I don't know if I want to travel 45 minutes to get to a church where I don't know anybody and I don't know their customs, of being there and whatnot. And of course I could pick it up fairly quickly, but it would be awkward for me, especially somebody that has anxiety and doesn't like large crowds of people. So yeah, it's a 45-minute drive there, 45-minute drive back, plus you have an hour in between. You're talking what? That's an hour and a half plus an hour, and then you have a little social time. So yeah, you're talking at least 2.5 hours without having social time with anybody, like going in, having an hour-long service-ish, and then going home. Barring any traffic, you're looking at about a 2.5-hour time slot out of my day. That's not including getting ready for it and whatnot, which I would tack on an extra hour. So you're looking at 3.5 hours. That's a third of my day. That's a lot of time out of my day to be going out and only having 1 hour of time there. It's a lot of commitment. Not saying it wouldn't be worth it, it's just that's a long way to go, and plus you have to go across the bridges and all that. It's a whole thing. It's a process to get into Philadelphia from here. Not that I wouldn't do it, not that I haven't done it before, but usually whenever I go into Philadelphia, it's like I'm spending the whole stinking day there because I don't want to, go down there just for, a half an hour or an hour and then have to drive all the way back. That is a lot of traffic. I don't like it. So yeah, there are certain things, and getting to the actual point of, what would you do if you disagreed with your church about a moral issue is, I don't know. Because bringing up an issue in the church, a lot of churches I'm not going to say all because I don't like overarching generalities, but a lot of churches are set in their ways. They have this biblical literalism where they have to take the Bible absolutely literally as it's written, as it was written by a group of men back in the first, second, third century, as it was canonized by these men. And that these books written by who knows who, most were not written by the apostles, as maybe some of the letters, yes, but like the books of Moses were not written by Moses. We know this. The Gospels most likely were not written by the apostles. Again, something we know, or that we have a lot of theories about, or hypotheses about the legitimacy of the authorship of the individual. Well, oh, okay, yeah. Ms. Arwen, by Tara by Arwen. I commented something on Twitter and she liked my post. Yay! And she also commented, awesome. I love Arwen. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, many churches are set in their ways as to the biblical literalism, but we know that's not true, a lot of it. So what gets me is, if we're not willing to accept clear fact, I'm not really inclined to accept their archaic laws and standards and whatnot. And by that I mean, like, there are certain laws that may have made sense to the Hebrews at that time, for whatever reason. They were trying to, you know, have a community grow and whatnot, and trying to, sustain a population. Well, if they had a whole bunch of gay people running around, that might stifle the population just a little bit. Most likely it wouldn't have, because we don't see that today, but, maybe there was a reason with the trichinosis and whatnot, that they didn't need their people to eat pork, so they made it a law. And, it makes sense for that time. Nowadays, we don't have those issues because of the steps that we take. So, whenever we're looking at biblical laws, we have to update them. And by that I mean, we need to look at them without the rose-colored glasses of an almighty being said to somebody at some time, and it was recorded at some time by somebody else, mostly, if not all, men. And it was written down, and why we're taking this as absolute law, it doesn't make sense. There are these things called blue laws in the States, where the law made sense at one time, but doesn't make sense today. I believe it is in New York, where it is still, to this day, on the books. It is still illegal for you to walk in New York with an ice cream cone in your back pocket. Now, the reason for that law goes back to horse thieves, who would back up to a horse, get them to start going after the ice cream cone, and would start toddling off, and the horse would follow, because horses, if you did not know, love ice cream. Absolutely love it. But they made a law saying that you can't walk with an ice cream cone in your back pocket. Now we sit here today and we laugh at this and know that nobody's going to get arrested for this, and if they do, it's because they want to catch them on something bigger and just want a reason to hold them. But yeah, nobody's getting in trouble for this. At one time, that law made sense. Now it does not. Nobody is going around with an ice cream cone in their back pocket unless they're just trying to be openly defiant of a stupid law. That doesn't make any sense for today's society. Back then it did. And I think the same thing can be true for many of the laws in the biblical texts. And if we are not willing to look at that and see what the purpose was behind it and what the society was trying to do by making these laws, then I don't think we need to really take them as gospel. I don't think that there was a being sitting there saying that, you cannot have shellfish, you cannot have pork, you cannot have sex with individuals of the same gender or of the same sex, the same physical sex. I want to make the distinction that there is a distinct difference between sex and gender. There is. It's psychology and psychiatry, it's medical science. That this is just fact. So, they came up with these laws for certain reasons, and if we're not looking at them and saying, hey, this one doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why I can't have clothes made of two different types of fabric. It doesn't make any sense why I can't eat pork. Back then, it might have been a trichinosis thing. Nowadays, we don't have that issue as much. So, yeah, if we're not willing to look at these things with objective viewing as to why they are there, and if they need to still be there and still be enacted, other than our feelings of, ooh, that's icky, why would you do that? If we're not willing to look at it in a way of, hey, this is not a big deal, or hey, this is still pretty valid, like the whole don't murder people, that is still pretty valid, and I think we should still keep along with that. Certain things like that, we need to look at these laws with common sense. But if I was in a church and I disagreed with them on a moral issue, I don't know if I would say anything, because there are so many people that are just stuck in their ways. For me, it would be easier just to switch to a different church. I have seen with the church that I actually am still a member of, the church that I was baptized at, they basically fired the pastor because he spoke against LGBTQ issues. One of the families that is at the church is pretty prominent, at least in that community, or at least most of them, like many of the people in the church are related to this family in some way. Well, they were pro-LGBTQ. So they basically said, well, we can find a different pastor. You're done here, thanks. And yeah, they did that. And if I had that type of a backing within people in that community, then maybe I would say something. But otherwise, I'm just content on toddling off and doing my own thing. And, basically voting with my feet. You show your displeasure by leaving. Same thing goes for whenever you don't like the meal at a restaurant. You don't leave the server a horrible tip, or you don't write some smart-ass comment on the receipt, like, get a real job. I've actually seen people write these things on receipts. I've seen pictures of them on Facebook and whatnot. It's like, who is this monster? But instead of doing that, no, and you don't leave messages like that. You vote with your feet. You just don't come back. You do that with stores. Why would you not do that with a church? What makes that one church so special that you are not willing to leave it and show your displeasure that way? if you wanted, and quite frankly, I don't want to make it a huge deal, and I don't want to be the person in the news that's, protesting against the church and whatnot, or, filing a complaint or whatever, and bringing news attention to it. I don't want to be that person. Quite frankly, I have other battles to fight. And, I can just as easily dox them here on YouTube and say, hey, y'all, this is a horrible church, and you should go and, write to them and tell them how horrible of a job they do. But, I could use this platform for that, but I don't. Instead, I'm here building community. So, with this channel, at least that's always been the goal of this channel, other than, tracking my progression in my practice and whatnot. And yeah, that's been a big part of what this channel is all about, is fostering community. So, yeah. Anyway, that's this week's question. Let me know what you think. What would you do if you disagreed with your church about a moral issue? Let me know in the comments below if you would be so kind, because I'm kind of interested in everybody else's take. Who out there is the activist that will sit there and say, no, I'm not okay with this? To be quite frank, I would probably still say something to the pastor, or like every church that I've been to, for the most part, I've been pretty active in, and I've been, I would go to the pastor and I'd have small conversations and whatnot. But if I had that kind of relationship with the pastor, absolutely, I would go up to them and I say, I really disagree with you on this. If they took that into consideration and either amended their views or had a longer discussion with me about it, where I could give my side, and present facts, then yeah, and maybe I would stay then. But yeah, if it was just a regular church where I go there, I go home, and that's the end of it, no, I wouldn't go again. So yeah, I don't know. I probably would say something, and then if it continued, I'd still leave. But I don't know. I've never really been in that position since becoming a Christo-Pagan. So yeah, not really sure how I'd handle that. Probably would leave though. Anyway, let me know what your answer is in the comment section down below. Join me on Saturday for part 3 of the Outer Temple Witchcraft, chapter 13. We're finishing up that chapter, and then join me on Sunday for our dive into the Nag Hammadi scriptures, the secret book of James. We are making our way through that. I think we should be able to do it in 2 more takes, 2 more rounds, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, join me for that, and until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye bye.